After today, you listen to me today, you get all this information. Then tomorrow, you come and sit down in front of me for a real negotiation. I'm going to eat you for breakfast. Hi, I'm Scott, founder of Apex Negotiations, and I'm a specialist negotiations trainer and consultant. And today I'm going to debunk some of the career myths that can be found on Reddit. So the first post is from Through Train, and they say, don't be afraid to ask for higher pay and let them negotiate with you. If they ask, just say it's what other companies are paying for this job scope. If you just accept anything, they will forever give you the low rate. Okay, to start off with, I agree, don't be afraid to ask for higher pay. But what I don't agree with is to say that's what other companies are paying. When you're asking for a certain salary, you want to base it on the value that you can provide, on the achievements that you've made, not just base it on that's what other companies are paying. It's very vague, it's very broad, and it doesn't add value to your ask whatsoever. And you also want to plan on the range, your zone of possible agreement. So you've got your numbers, that's got to be clear. What will I accept at the top end, the bottom end? What's my walkaway point? Next, we have a post from OK Tradition 5452, and they say, do not ever divulge your salary, even if they force you to. If you have to, tell them you want to know the budget first before saying. I actually disagree with this, and I'll tell you why. In a negotiation, ideally you want to anchor first. So if you ask me what's my salary, and I say $110,000 per year, I have anchored the number 110,000, and the whole conversation now becomes around that number. And the other side, their job is trying to get that number down. If I take the advice from this post and I don't divulge my salary, I allow the other side to anchor first. Now it's my job to try and pull it up from the low anchor that they've set. The next post we have is from What I'm With, Isn't It? Making a counteroffer would be a terribly bad way to start at a new company, especially over 5k. Now, I wholeheartedly agree with this. If you accept an offer, then that's it. You've accepted and you start the job on that offer. If you go and try to make a counteroffer after you've accepted, then for one, you've broken the agreement. Two, you've broken their trust. If an employer makes you a job offer and you haven't accepted yet, it's perfectly acceptable to negotiate back and forward. What the research statistics show is that 2 to 3 back and forward salary negotiations, it's expected. Once you go beyond 3, the employer just sees you as being a pain. The next post we have is from Gel212. Psychological tricks are old school and from the movies. It's better to do your research, start what you believe your market rate is, and have data points to support it. I completely agree with this post. Understand your value, know what the market rates are, what your achievements are, and have all that data to back it up. The caveat here is you need to anticipate that the other side will play psychological tricks on you. Now, you need to be able to spot these tricks so that you know when they're being used on you and you don't fall into the trap. Now, there's a couple of mainstream ones that get used mostly. So the first one that I would say is when the employer plays good cop, bad cop. So the hiring manager, just as an example, will psychologically trick you into thinking one side's really fighting your corner, really bending over backwards for you. And that blends into the psychology of the law of reciprocity. So when the good cop makes very tiny, insignificant, small concessions for you, you feel reciprocal, you feel that you need to do something in return. Another psychological trick that's often played by employers is scarcity. So they may make, just throw away comments like, we have another 10 candidates to interview, or really need you to give us an answer by the end of today. And what they're doing is psychologically putting that scarcity into your mindset and thinking that you're going to lose out. And finally, one of the main ones used, which ties into that scarcity a little, it's called fear of loss. It's an age-old sales tactic as well. So if an employer wants you to accept that offer quickly, get that negotiation closed down, they will create urgency. And the best way to create urgency is by fear of loss. So when you take something away, it's quite natural from human psychology that the other person comes running back. People always want what they can't have. I would not suggest that you use psychological tricks, because I don't believe that trickery has any place in negotiation. Negotiate ethically, collaboratively, transparently. So 80% of your negotiation should actually be the planning and preparation in advance before you go into the negotiation. 20% of the negotiation should be the talking. You should be practicing it so that you're confident when you go into those. So I can tell you these things, but executing it is a different story from knowing the information. After today, you listen to me, you get all this information. Then tomorrow, you come and sit down in front of me for a real negotiation. I'm going to eat you for breakfast. I don't mean that to be rude, but what I mean is, because you only know the information, you're not confident and practiced. So you should always practice with your friends, with your colleagues. Well, that's it for today. Thanks for listening, and I really hope that you learned something that will help you in your career progression. Now, don't forget to tune in for the next episode. And on this one, please do leave a comment in the comments section. Anything that's on your mind, any thoughts, any questions, I'll be happy to personally answer them myself. See you again.